As I explored Google Apps Script, I realized how badly I wanted to make a sidebar. One, they're useful. It allows people to interact with your program, your script, your macro for documents, for sheets, for whatever you're doing. Or if not interact, it conveys information, right? So right off, I could put in some instructions or just some basic ideas of how to use the macro, the code, the project, the application that I had shared with someone, which was and is super helpful, particularly if my mother isn't as familiar with tech stuff and it can, clue her in, and I can do so in a slightly fancy way using HTML to stylize the content that the sidebar puts out. And that's what I'm going to dive in today, how to do that, how to add your own custom sidebar with HTML onto the side. And then we need to add a menu though first to be able to access that sidebar. So let's go ahead and do tools and then script editor to get to Google Apps Script, right? Tools, script editor. If you're new to coding or a pro, hopefully this will be for you regardless. I teach middle school computer science. I love talking about coding, so I hope to make this approachable. If you get super lost or you find me ridiculous, the code's going to be posted below. Feel free to use it for your own purposes. Yeah, but let's get started. All right, so boom, boom. Yeah. Gonna go ahead and put my standard stuff here. Kurt Kaiser, that's me. And then should I name this? Well, I'll put my site, kurtkaiser.us. Yeah, .com wasn't available. Let's do pretty sidebar. Perfect. And then standard stuff. But do feel free to make use of these. All right, there we are. And then my function. We don't need my function, but we do need, well, a function. We need a menu, so we have a way for the user to pull up our sidebar. And how I'm going to do that is a menu. So instead of writing my function here, I'm going to do on open. This function is automatically triggered by AppScript by Google. So on open, let's go ahead and sidebar. Sure. Creative, I know. Sidebar on open. And what are we going to do on open? We're going to make a variable. var UI equals spreadsheet app.get UI and then parentheses behind it. What this is doing, var in JavaScript, that's what we're writing in, creates a variable. Our variable is UI, which stands for user interface. I could name this Bob if I wanted to, but UI makes sense. We then use this, right? Hey, spreadsheet application, and then the method get UI, and what is returned is what represents the user interface, the UI for the spreadsheet. This also works on forms and docs. If you're trying to add a menu to stuff, this will do it. All right, let's go ahead and do new line. Now I'm going to use that variable UI.create. If we didn't do this whole thing, I could still, here, I'll show you actually. Create menu. My menu name's going to go here, so sidebar. That's so boring. Ta-da is my menu name, less boring. And then I wanted to show you that real quick. I shouldn't put this here, but regardless, if I wanted to reference the UI without my variable, you still can just write this again, right? So I'm going to go ahead and copy it. Putting it here is the same thing, but then you'll have to write that every time you want to make a change to the user interface, which is why I create a variable. All right. UI. Now we want to add stuff to our menu, space. To do that, add, and look, it comes up with this handy thing. This is slightly deceiving. Caption needs to be in parentheses. This is what the menu will say. So this is going to be show sidebar. And then function name will be show sidebar. Sidebar. Keep in mind, you need the function name in quotes as well. Single or double makes no difference. But you do not need a parenthesis, which is what you usually would for a function name. Okay. This is actually all I'm going to have on this menu for now. So I'm going to go ahead and then to add it, to make it all happen for us, dot add to UI. If you're interested in learning more about menus, what they can do, I do have a video specifically focused on them. You should definitely check that out. They can be pretty handy. So now that I need this, now that I've made a menu that, here, I'm going to hit save, on open, right? So on open is triggered when we refresh our, here, I'll show you. Let's go ahead and name this so I don't lose it. Sidebar project, wait for it. Ta-da! It's going to stick. It's a great name. All right. Let me go ahead now. If I hit refresh, this is going to close, but something else is going to open, and hopefully, so I hit refresh, which closes and reopens our project, and we should see, maybe. Ooh, it's still thinking about it. All right. What did I do wrong? Add to UI, create menu, ta-da, add to UI, comma, go first. Test it. Oh, I didn't do the permissions. All right, review permissions. Yes, I trust it. Yes, allow. Okay. I should have ran it beforehand. Oh, and now it's going to be grumpy. Parentheses. Okay, I need a parenthesis. So that's probably why it didn't open beforehand. Debugging. This is the importance of debugging. I'm going to try this again. I'm going to go ahead and hit, whoop, you gave it away there, ta-da. And if I hit refresh or when I open this, ta-da will pop up for us. So if I hit show sidebar, it's going to give us an error because we don't have that function yet. So let's change that. Function show sidebar, and then parentheses, and boom. The parentheses are for arguments or parameters. We're not going to have any of those for our sidebar. So let's go ahead. We have that. And what you're going to want to do first for this is make an HTML file that represents our sidebar. So I'm going to do file, new, HTML, and I'm going to just name this sidebar. Should pop up. So what we're going to do here with our HTML, I'm just going to do some basic stuff so we can test out our function. So it already has a body. Go ahead and P for a paragraph if you're not as familiar. This is a test, and then we're going to close that paragraph with /p. Okay. I'm going to hit save on this. And then if you notice, code has a star next to it up over here. And that is because we didn't save our code. Show sidebar. But we need our show sidebar function, well, to do something. We could save it, but the function still isn't going to do anything when we click it on our menu. And so what we are going to want it to do, I'm going to create a variable. I'm going to call it variable HTML because, well, that's what it's going to be. And then we're going to call out, hey, HTML service, similar to spreadsheet app, HTML service, dot create HTML output, if you want to do it the easy way. Ta-da! And it will fill it out. Output, oh, I clicked the wrong one. From file. See, always doing things the hard way. And then the file, well, I named mine sidebar. So I'm going to go ahead and write, in quotes, sidebar. It's technically called, if I pull this out, it's technically called sidebar.html, but you don't want to have that .html. It knows that's what you're looking for. So once I do that, I'm going to go ahead then and let's set width. This is usually standardized at 300. And then spreadsheet app, get UI. I can use this again. So I'm going to go ahead though and I guess I'll just copy it. I was debating whether to put it at the top and just have it be used over and over, but I'll just copy it for now. Spreadsheet app, get UI, and then set with, once you do that, yep, all right. Spreadsheet app, get UI dot show sidebar. Got it. So once I set my width, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do, move that down here, get rid of that, showed sidebar, and then what was my variable? Our variable is HTML. I have this on another line, so it's easier to read. I could have had it right up here. All right, let's see. I think I got everything. As I've said, though, this can be tricky. I'm going to hit save. Let's hit on open to make sure that's all loaded up for us. Oh, review permissions. Oh, it's not verified. Oh, no. Well, I'm going to trust me. This time. Not always the best of ideas. And allow. All right. Run. So debugged. Okay. We're going to go over here. There's our Tada menu. And let's see if we hit a bug. Cannot find get UI. HTML output. Spreadsheet app. Get UI. Show sidebar. Get UI is going to have, oh, and now we're gonna get there. Like this. All right, here we are. Spreadsheet app.getui.show sidebar HTML. Save. And go back over here, dismiss that stuff. Boom, and boom. This is a test. Okay. So now we have a working sidebar that people can use to and interact with. So if all you want is a a white sidebar with 3 words or 4 words on it, you are good. You can stop, I guess, watching. But hit subscribe and like. However, I'm gonna start adding stuff to it. I'm so wordy. I'm gonna start adding content, right? I'm gonna start adding different aspects or different HTML and style to our sidebar. So we already have this all set up. Okay, let's go ahead. I want to do 500 and see what happens. Ta-da! It's still 300. And if you go, so if you're thinking, oh, I can make this huge or tiny, and open, make sure there are no bugs. Ta-da! Oh, look, it's still 300 pixels. That's the default. Google doesn't care what width you want. I would assume then I'm in a habit of adding that. Boom. Boom. Let's run it now. Yeah, see, setting the width is an illusion. You don't get to set the width. It's always 300 pixels. So, anyways, all right, let's start adding to our HTML. Now, if you're not as familiar with HTML, or even if you are, what I do is I go to a site such as CodePen. CodePen.io. If you Google it, it will pop up. And then I'm just going to click create. The reason I'm doing this is CodePen will update live as I'm adding and changing stuff so I can see what it is. Okay? So for example, if I were to grab our little paragraph here, copy, and then paste it right here, what it will show is actually the paragraph. What it will show is actually the paragraph or the sentence, right? So this test, boom. There we are. And I want, well, more than this. So I'm going to do content boxes. I want to split things up into different boxes. I'm going to do div, which is a box of content. I'm also going to use a body tag and then a div. Oh, should close my body tag. Body. Another one. Body tag, and now I'm gonna use a div to create. Now I'm gonna use div to create a content box / div. Okay. And then in this div, I want my heading. So I'm gonna go ahead and do H1. It will be the main heading. Hello world. Whatever I would like my heading to be. Boom. And then close my H1 tag. Okay, so that's going to be my first box, something simple like this. My next box, I might have a message. I want to do... I'll go back and do that in a sec. So I'm going to use div again. All right, and I open and close the tag so I don't forget. And then instead of heading tags, I'm going to just have a paragraph tag, right? And I'm going to type out something like, this is information the user should know, right? Right, user? You should know this stuff by now. Good. You do? Great. Okay. Just kind of getting content, and now I'm going to be lazy about it. Copy. Enter and paste. Okay. And I'll go ahead and close my paragraph. Okay. So, well, this looks like meh, right? And if I copy all this and go over here and body, delete, paste, save, it's gonna, watch, look like meh. All right. So H tag, by the way, I should have said it's a heading tag. H1's the largest heading, and that's why I used it. Let me go back over here. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna add CSS. I'm gonna ignore this stuff because in AppScript, you wanna do it all on the same page, even though it says CSS. So to add CSS, you need to do it in the head tag. In AppScript, they do provide it. It's this tag, right? I didn't actually add it yet, but they already have it in AppScript. So in the head tag, and I'll post all this as well. So if you like this, if you want to steal it, if you want to borrow it, it will be below as well on the link to the code. Head, let's use, well, just to make a point, I can do div, right? And so this is going to be, style. In here is going to be our content that is going to stylize our page. So to use CSS, all I need to do is use one of our properties. Div is what I'm going to start with. So I'm just going to do div, and then I need a curly bracket, and I need a closing one if yours didn't add it. I can go ahead and put, well, whatever options I would like. So some of the options are border. But first, I want to control width. I know we're limited to 300, but I want width to be no more than 90% of a page. Okay, that will change it here a little bit. I then want it to have a border. Border hyphen style, okay? And we have some options here. I am just going to do a double border, and then border hyphen width is gonna be 2 pixels, 2 px, and then border hyphen color is gonna be blue. Okay? And there's that. I want to separate out my boxes, so I'm gonna do a margin. Margin of 3px. And they should, boom, be separated, okay? So you can already see how we're adding some different style to the element. And if I go back over here, just to show you what it's gonna look like so far, copy, and body. I'm gonna space this out to make life easier for us. We wanna go from the body to the top of the head tag, and paste. Okay, I'm gonna hit save. Okay, and then let's go check how our sidebar looks. Ta-da! So you can see that it's already taking a bit more shape. So this bothers me right here. The text is too close. So I'm going to go back to the HTML and add div padding. So padding controls the content. It makes sure content doesn't get too close to the edge. I'm going to say 2 pixels. And it should, if you notice right there, I'm going to delete this for a sec. Boom. So it just spaces it out a bit more. Okay. Padding. Actually, let's go ahead and do 3 for padding. And then I want my... No, I don't want all text centered. All right. Now, I just want the head tag centered. So I'm going to use my H1 tag now below this. Right? So H1... Mine automatically finish, but make sure you have both brackets and text hyphen align and center. And there we are with that. Now there's all sorts of stuff I can do at this point. I can add more divs because all of my divs will be outlined. I can add a Google form. Not a Google form. I can add an HTML form so a user can input information and we can save it, which I'm going to show how to do in another video. I can, well, just real straightforward, I can also just add a background color. Background hyphen color. I don't know, pink. Sure. And then... background. Oh, you got to spell ground right for it to work. There we are. And then I can make our font bigger, right? So you can look up CSS codes. You get the point. I'm going to go ahead and switch this back to light blue. I might do a few more things on this and get it all posted. Hopefully this can help you build your very own sidebar. Here's the code. Again, it's pretty straightforward. The fun stuff is making your HTML, your sidebar, and you can use it for a whole host of things, just to update the user, to give instructions on something, to remind people of stuff, really anything. Oh, that's not the final version. Let's get the final version over here. Really anything that you need to do, body, and paste. Save. Go. Yep. And there we are. It's looking more professional already. Hopefully this was helpful. Again, I'll link the code below. If this was helpful, if this wasn't helpful, if you're still watching, if you enjoyed all the police sirens, please hit like, hit subscribe. If you're interested in how to put or get user information and save variables, you should check out that video because that's going to be posted as well.